Greetings and welcome to TFT Tarot for today, Divine Dabblings with Oberon Banshee, and this is Goth Tarot. It's my weekly look into the shadow aspects of our lives, and we tend to focus on one main one for the course of a month, but we might bring up some other shadow issues along the way and briefly explain the shadow is our negative feelings and our negative behaviors that we're unable to resolve, and we sort of use them to maybe lash out at others or to stop ourselves from certain kinds of growth or change. So this month, this is week 3 of this month, we've been exploring the issue related to family loyalties. We're going to get into that in a minute, but we're going to start off with a brief meditation and card pull from the Order of the Hecatean Path, the Oracle of the Hecatean Path, I should say. And we can think of this as something that sets the tone, perhaps. It may have some relevance or resonance towards the main shadow issue or something that comes up. I'll try to align that as I see it. And it's Liana, the lioness, and its strength. And of course, that's very similar to the strength card in the tarot. It's often used a lion. So I'm going to put that card there. And I invite you to relax while I read this. Number 14, Liana, the lioness, strength. Hecate cultivates independence and self-empowerment. Lions are noble, strong, and fierce protectors, and Hecate's association with them comes from the Chaldean oracles, where Hecate is not only described as being lion-possessing, but that if you call upon me, often you will perceive everything in lion form. Now those are in quotes. She knows you have the strength in you. She gives you the tools, but expects you to pick them up and put them to good use, even if that means learning how. Tap into the strength of Hecate and rise. And of course, in any shadow work, like we've been doing all these years of shadow work you may do on your own, we need the tools. The tools may come to us through these kind of workings or through other associations, but ultimately we have to believe in ourselves and our ability to be like a lion. All right. Well, that one actually. Okay. So as I mentioned earlier, we are dealing with family loyalty, and we're working with the work from the Cries of the Soul's Oracle, I'm going to move the other card there. It's by Isabel Serf and illustrated by Daphne Sabang. And we use it for months now. And we find that it's something that we can comprehensively use for the entire month as a way of leveling and giving ourselves updates on it. So here it is again, family loyalty. And it says, I am myself. So I'm going to remind us from the original section, but basically it's understanding that this is a transgenerational memory, and it's been going on for a long time over possibly many generations within your family. It may not be all or both sides of your family, it may be specific to one particular part, but you know how the human condition goes. And so you just sort of feel like you're being ordered about by the experiences of the people who came before you, and most of the things that you consider your dreams or passions are not as important if they especially diverge from family conventional thoughts. And so you feel the desire to be a rebel, but you can't really bear it. You can't bear to make that change. So here I'm going to read now from the section called The Warning. You can tame my presence by focusing on yourself, determining who you are and what you want. Explore your passions and build your own reference framework. You don't owe anyone anything. You're allowed to be original and build a way forward, even if that path is unknown to your family. Assert yourself and dare to show your identity and creativity to the world, because the more you do so, the more you'll diminish my power over you and future generations. Live your own life and set aside the codes that don't work for you. So once again, that was from the warning section of the Cries of the Soul Oracle. All right. So we're going to do 2 updates to our work to see how we might be updating where problems may still lie. So the first update, I used the deck known as the Shadow Work Tarot by the Erethereal company. And this is just for the general update. This will tell us if it feels to be progressing, or if there's anything notable about it, or if there's anything notably detracting about it that might indicate it's still not quite happening. Or where other work needs to focus. It's the reversed King of Swords. You're probably having a problem making certain decisions still, and this could say that basically you're not being able to liberate yourself from the family conventions. You're still having some doubts about it. You're still not sure if you made the right decision, but in effect it could be that there's peer family pressure going on that is trying to convince you that you're not doing this or you're not able to do it. So this represents the idea that there's still a bit of work for you to work on, whether it's convincing yourself to have your own plans, that you don't have to bend the knee to your family, or whether it's about, any kind of direct challenge that you may be able to do if that's necessary. So that almost leads into the next pull, which is from the deck known as the Opaline Tides Tarot, and it's once again by Erethereal Company, and it's a corollary maybe to their Shadow Work Tarot. I'm using it in the sense that tides represent in and out actions, and so the qualities of the card that I pull here could represent an energy that's coming into the situation. It most likely is external, but it could be something that we are trying to do or bring in to help us, or it could represent a tide going out, and that could represent an energy we're losing, a focus we're losing, something we're losing that we need to be aware of, but maybe we won't be able to counter that, and maybe we can if we know about it. So once again, opening tides, and what is the dark tide, as it were, going in or going out? This is the same as last week. We had the exact card last week, and that was Death reversed. And so this could be either. This could be the tide going in or out, but there's like a huge inertia that's affecting you dealing with the situation, and it could be that there's a backlash from where the family conventions and traditions try to enforce their rule. It could also be you saying you're still having this idea you can't speak for yourself, and you're unable to, I mean, one way or the other, that's what it's saying, is that you're having a problem trying to pull away from this, and it's pretty understandable. A lot of family conventions and traditions really will have such a pull and such a hold over people, and it may depend more, on the culture or possibly gender associations. So these are things to keep in mind. Death represents the capacity to change, so this could be saying you can flip the switch on that. You can try to find a way to make more change happen. But like the Strength card for our opening said, the Liana Strength, the other kind of aspect of Hecate, a lot of that's going to be on you, how you can do that. Alright, so I think I'll just take a moment there to look at that and reflect on that. But now we're going to go into some other, either corollary or adjacent issues in some respect, or side issues in some respect. So the first one is we're looking at another shadow that maybe I would call the Dark Avatar. And an avatar is kind of a projection. Well, in this case, it's a projection from our shadow issue. We're not able to admit to it or absorb it correctly, but we kind of create an avatar that maybe is an idealized version of it, but it's also something that we can say, this is really what's going on, this is what we're doing. it can sort of be like a case of a split identity. We can sort of isolate it from ourselves in a certain respect. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's kind of what I feel there. So I'm hoping that'll come across. So I'm going to use the Lost Soul Tarot by Crafterian. And what I do with this deck is I isolate just the court cards and the major arcanas. So that's like 38 cards. And I use those to represent what the possible dark avatar, the way you put the shadow into a different kind of aspect of personality that you separate from yourself. So you kind of sort of make other people see it as not exactly yourself. Once again, I'm not even sure if I understand what that meant. Why am I doing this show? You're always welcome to make a comment about it. Okay, and so like what's, again, that's the Lost Soul Oracle. What is your dark avatar? It's the Queen of Pentacles. So you project the image of the Queen of Pentacles to make yourself seem like you're really involved with projecting your power in better ways through creativity, artistry perhaps, an actual production of things, that you're sort of a matrix of creation on a particular level. So in various venues you could be a person that somehow creates art or somehow creates stable environments for families or creates in different ways. I mean, maybe you like to garden, maybe you like to cook, maybe you like to take care of others, others, and maybe there's a very caring aspect going on with the Queen of Pentacles. So people may see that with you, or that's what you want people to see. You want to see not somebody who's caught to their family loyalty. You want to see somebody who's kind and beneficial to their family and possibly by extension to you. So it's not a lie so much as just a way of sort of saying, no, this is what you really are seeing. But beyond that, there's another thing, which is, what is the dark mission of that dark avatar? And what is it that maybe they do that also maybe presents the idea of where they're trying to pull your energy or where they're trying to direct your attention in certain ways. It's again a sense of a distraction, but it may be a little bit more purposeful in the sense that they might involve you in this scheme in some way, and then you're enabling or creating a codependency with them. Ooh, that's a little bit different, I think. Okay, so what deck did I want to use for that? Oh, it was this one here. So I'm going to use the Erethereal. What is the dark mission? That's my Erethereal. And the Erethereal has a strong resonance to the Aleister Crowley Goth Tarot, using the same kind of appellations for some of the cards and the same legendary and there are more meeting or ceremonial possible connections there. So, what is the dark mission of the dark avatar? It's the Two of Cups, and it says love. So, wow, that's kind of interesting, or not. That's expected, perhaps. The dark mission, what they want you to think they're doing, or what they want you to maybe help with, is maybe they're looking for your harmony and trust too. They're looking for you to be a collaborator in the sense of, you know, adhering to family loyalty, and or maybe they're trying to get you to love or appreciate them for that too in some way. Wow, that's pretty deep. It's hard for me to look at this card as being insincere, but we are dealing with a shadow aspect, and possibly one that has a heavy codependence possibility and factor. So when we're dealing with harmony and trust in a relationship, and it's being presented from something that maybe is having kind of distractive potentials here, or subterfuge potentials, or disinformation potentials. This isn't the same exactly as the next card that I may be pulling here, but it's something to think about. Okay, so then, what is that next card I'm going to pull? Well, that's the Dark Trick. And the Dark Trick is actually how there is maybe more an obvious sense of trying to be deceptive about our adherence, or our being caught in this, our denial of the family loyalty. And I suppose some of us maybe don't care about that. Maybe we're just saying, we don't have to trick people. We don't have to lie or deceive people. They can either, you know, accept it or not. But I think some of us really do feel that, in a sense too, the Dark Trick could be another way that, you know, aspects of this are used to manipulate other people, because that's the way codependence works in a way. So I'm using the Joker Tarot for the Dark Trick. It seems appropriate. The way someone is tricking, deceiving, using trickery. What is the Dark Trick? What is the thing we do to try to deceive others from understanding what we're doing, or to hide our nature here? It's the Hanged Man. Oh my goodness. The Hanged Man says, you don't understand what I'm giving up here. to do this. You don't understand the sacrifice I make here. You know, I'm doing this to keep people happy in my family, or to keep a situation from, well, they're doing it because they don't want to lose control themselves of the situation, because they're not able yet to pull themselves out of the family loyalty stuff. So I'm just going to put you there. The Hanged Man. Alright, and we're almost done. I'm going to do one final card pull. It's from a newer tarot of mine. It's called the Tarot de la Nuit. And this position I'm considering the dark unknown. And we talked about how we're creating a sense of a mission to misdirect people, or how we're using an outright trickery to misdirect people. But the dark unknown is other aspects of our own shadow or inner avatar, whatever we want to call it, that are within ourselves, and that they're in our subconscious. They're in parts of ourselves where maybe we're not seeing them because they're kind of hidden that way. And so these are unknown to the point that they might be worth knowing about. There may be something about them that could be helpful, or could bring you out of a sense of denial, because if they are in your subconscious, then you may be aware of them, but you're in a denial too about them. Three of Swords. The dark unknown is that maybe you can't really admit how harmful this is, how much this hurts you, and how much this breaks your heart, how much you feel you are separated from what you really want to love or care about. But in the most definable sense, it may be about how you feel you can't heal, how you feel this wound about you is all going to be there. You're maybe devaluing the idea that any of these thoughts or anything you might learn about this loyalty problem would be helpful to you. So I'm sorry about that. So much of this was about maybe a sense of what you were trying to hide to others. Or what you thought you were working for. You know, I look at that Two of Cups and I say, an avatar isn't necessarily a lie. Your shadow was trying to find a way to appreciate loyalty or friendship or deeper connection. But somewhere deeper than that, you don't expect the pain to end. And it's almost like the tide, the opening tide, what's going in or out, the sense that nothing can change things here. So I think with family loyalty, this is literally one of the hardest shadows that we've been working on. To use, not to lose. This is the Dark Light Oracle, by the way. Time to use, not to lose. I'm the great keeper of time, and I'm here to remind you that time is the most precious, yet the most slippery thing in the world. How do you occupy your time? Do you waste it with meaningless tasks, or do you fill it with passion and significant achievements? Beware what you answer, for once the hourglass is empty, it's empty, and you won't get a second chance. Never forget that your presence on this planet is ephemeral. You only exist here once. So don't lose 1 minute of your assigned time and live your life to the fullest. Affirmation. I use my time at best. I avoid wasting it, losing it. Instead, I savor every second of the precious life I've been given. I love this because, of course, whether by intention or not, we started with Hecate Oracle, and Hecate is kind of a goddess of time too. There's a lot of time elements there. And when we think about the overall work that we're doing here, there's so much that benefits from understanding that we have to be in that moment. We have to understand what it is that we give to ourselves, the amount of time we allow ourselves to process this. And it should be a reflection of what our true needs and values are. There are things that are suggesting that we're not quite through a situation with family loyalty, being a determinant with growth or change or acceptance of ourselves. So I can only think that we still have to do some work here, and I would want people to consider listening to either or both of the first two segments of this show, the Shadow playlist on our YouTube channel, and review family loyalty. Next week, we may try to wrap it up, and we will also be having a deeper meditation from the sacred language of darkness. So until I see you then, and you know what, I guess we have a 5th week this month too, so there'll still be time for us to keep working on this, but don't forget to watch the live stream tomorrow night, Tarot for today, After Dark, Tarot After Dark, that's what I meant to say. That's from 7 to 9 Eastern Standard Time. And for Friday morning has my emotional exchanges. Please watch. I'm doing a great job there with the different cards and the different situations. So that's at 7 o'clock on Friday mornings. And happy hour will be once again at its regular time of Saturday at 10 o'clock. That's a live show. Come and get a happy message, possibly divine spirit, etc. And Sunday, Banshee's Material Matters, and we are live for that too. That's 10 a.m. Well, we're live in the chat room for that. 10 a.m. On Sunday mornings with our live stream for Sunday afternoon starting at 2 and going to 4 p.m. Get there early. That one tends to be a real busy early one, and we have to close it down at some point. So, all right, everybody, take care. We'll see you next time.